History has been recorded in many ways. During the Ottoman Empire, these miniature paintings told the story of the day. Called tashwir or nakish in the Ottoman language, these paintings depicted events from the ordinary to the historic. Although Islam has traditionally forbidden the painting of human images, miniatures have been around much longer than any sultan. The earliest account of the ancient art dates back to the 2nd century BC.
Abi ben adım Özcan. Küçüklüğümden beri resim yapardım zaten. Ve küçük küçük resimler yazardım. Yazılarım bile çok küçüktü benim yani. Ve çok sevdiğim bir şeydi bu minyatür, eski Osmanlı kültürü. Yani bana inanılmaz.
Ozcan earned an economics degree from Istanbul University, but he couldn't stay away from his first love.
Şimdi ben minyatür sanatını Osmanlı olarak görmüyorum. Çünkü minyatür çok temelli bir sanat. Neredeyse milattan öncelerden bu zamana geliyor. Ansiklopedide şey yazar, minyatürün ilk çıkışı Karahoça Arabeleri, Uygur Türkleri der. Ama tarihe girdiğinizde mesela Mısır piramitlerinin içinde bile minyatür görürsünüz. Çinlilerin milattan sonra 2. yüzyılda yaptıkları nefis minyatürler vardır. Dolayısıyla yani bir Türk sanatı olarak görmek, Osmanlı sanatı olarak görmek yanlış. Çünkü Selçuklu'da da var ve daha öncesinde Hindistan'a varana kadar gider.
Chinese influence in miniature art continued well into the 14th century, seen mostly in landscapes made with Chinese ink. Figures were added later during the Mongolian era. Murat Palta is part of the new generation of miniature artists.
There are lots of impressions from India, from China, from Japan, because it all started in Middle Asia, and there were Turkic and Mongolic tribes that invaded Persia, and they enriched Persian art, and then it just jumped to Ottoman miniature.
The conquest of Istanbul in 1453 was the first step into the new phase of Ottoman cultural life. That was when East met West, and miniature art flourished.
Etkilenmemiş olmasını düşünemeyeceğimiz kadar etkilememiş olmasını da düşünemeyiz. Bugün minyatür işte Türkiye genelinde bile çok tanınan sanatlardan bir tanesi haline geldi. Bu bir aşktır, bu bir sevdadır yani. Ama kalite açısından dediğim gibi çok öyle hani çok fazla sanatsal görebileceğimiz bir minyatür değildir. Daha naif, daha sade, daha çok anlatıma dayalı.
Ottoman miniatures display realism based on close observations. Refined details are rare.
Bana sorarsanız çocuk resmidir bu. Yani sanatın başladığı nokta diyebiliriz. Çünkü son derece saf, sadece stilize, ışık gölge kaygısı gütmeden.
The technical characteristics of miniature art are quite different from, say, English Renaissance art. Perspective and shading do not exist in miniature art. Rather, the principle is to reflect the contours of the subject matter, thereby allowing the artist to portray many different scenes at the same time.
The scenes depicted in miniature art could include different periods and spaces.
Back in medieval times, paper was a luxury. It wasn't a material that could be obtained easily. So the artists had to work in a more practically to put everything up on the paper. The point of doing that is to use the paper as much as possible. Because of that, they didn't add shadows, perspectives, or anything. And I think it's a bright idea for illustration-wise.
Unlike other paintings, Ottoman miniatures were not signed, in part due to Islam's rejection of individualism, but also because the works were not created by only one person.
Yet the sale of this precious art form is not what it used to be. A number of terrorist attacks as well as foreign diplomatic tensions has led to a significant drop in tourism in Turkey. Yet one man here at Istanbul's Grand Bazaar, one of the oldest and largest covered markets in the world, is doing all he can to keep this important art form alive.
Selahattin Deniz has owned a shop here for 2 decades.
If you compare miniature with other, is an investment pieces miniature, is a nice arts, and then has some miniature which is detail hand painting. The page is old, some has like a from 18th century, 17th century, from the old books, the pieces.
Selahattin works directly with 7 different miniature artists who reproduce replicas of old works or create more contemporary pieces based on historic events. They also paint special orders for customers.
Locals also, foreigner too, because they're interesting about the culture of the Turks. When they see nice, like detailed art hand painting like this kind of, really they interesting. They likes this, you know.
Yet Selahattin is seeing less and less potential buyers these days.
Tourism in Turkey right now, we are in very bad time. Because one day I have a customer from England. She was sitting here. We make a business almost with her, to deal with her. And there is a message to write her phone numbers. Please, is bomb attention to yourself, go your hotel, take your, and then back your country.
Ozcan is worried about the direction the art form is taking in a commercial environment.
Kaldı ki bu zamana geldiğimizde minyatürü biz biraz daha sevdirme tarafında gidiyoruz. Yoksa Osmanlı minyatürünü bugün mesela piyasada dahi biz turistlere satarken satamıyorduk. Niye? Çünkü daha orijinal şeyler, daha farklı şeyler istiyorlardı. Ben şunu söylerim, ben sanatsal işler yapıyorum şu dönemde ama piyasa her zaman er meydanıdır.
But it's not just about changes in style. There's also a limit to the number of fresh pieces being produced.
Bu sanatlardaki en büyük sorun kalitelileştirmekten ziyade çoklaştırma oldu. Ama eskiye nazaran çok daha yetenekli insanlar var, arkadaşlarımız var. Yani bu işe gönlünü koymak gerçekten çok zor bir şey. Yani şimdi çoklaştırma bazı yetenekli arkadaşlara gerçekten çok darbe vurdu. Ve bırakmak zorunda kaldılar.
Miniaturists say the art form is slowly fading, but Murat Palta has come up with a winning formula depicting contemporary events and images in miniature style.
Okay, the first one is Indiana Jones, and there's a scene that supposedly to be, sword fight, but turns out that he just pulls out his gun and shoots. No, he was supposed to pull out his whip, against the sword, but he was too tired and sick. He just pulled out his gun and it shot in that way.
That's sort of a contemporary item.
Yeah.
In Ottoman times.
Yeah. And also you can see that he's a Westerner character and they're all Easterner characters. That was in the movie, of course, but it was a good point to, depict this kind of scene.
Much of Murat's work blends traditional and modern art forms.
But my aim is not only the miniature art, but also all traditional things, all traditional art in Turkey, to carry them onto a contemporary base. So it's not a reviving, but it's a way to, check things out.
Traditional Ottoman miniature art featuring scenes from Hollywood films is proving popular, with pieces selling worldwide for over 3,000 euros.
Okay, first of all, it must be a Western movie so that I can adapt to Eastern art. There must be some kind of contrast between that. For instance, Star Wars, you can see Darth Vader in a Sultan costumes and with Janissaries, and it could be easily adapted into Turkish art. Also, there must be significant characters, scenes, or some kind of significant point so that someone can understand what movie it is.
Murat is taking this formula to other mediums, such as light boxes, tiles, and even carpets. But artists like Murat are rare.
Halkımıza o şekilde lanse etmek. Çünkü bunu tabana yayamadığınız sürece bir şeyi başarmış olmuyorsunuz. Kültürle birleştirmediğiniz sürece ise yine yaptığınızın hiçbir anlamı olmuyor.
Murat says there needs to be a focus on miniature art in schools.
When I was at the university at the first year, it took place in the class, but it was just descriptional. I don't know how to say what. They just mentioned briefly. It could have been a little bit more detailed. There must be some kind of way to make students understand well. I think it could have been how people created back in Ottoman era.
Ozcan does not see a bright future for miniature art, so he believes current artists should work hard to preserve it.
Ön plana çıktığı sürece bu sanatlardan bir gelecek bulmanız çok zor. Ondan dolayı hani bunu sevebilen veya ömrünü koyabilecek olan çok fazla insan çıkacağını zannetmiyorum. Bunu ispat etmezsen. Lakin şu anki gidişatla bunu yapan insan olmasının bir önemi yok. Önemli olan tek bir şey var, bunu gelecek kuşaklara aktarmak.
Miniatures have survived by being passed on from one generation to another, with each adding its own style. So it may just be that this generation's bold new approach is the very element keeping miniature art alive for tomorrow.